Your assimilation into the Good Talk Network begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? It's Jonah Lanto from thegoodtalknetwork.com, and I am here for a conspiracy-laden hype show. I've got James Owens, the one and only astrophotographer extraordinaire, scientist, and man of general knowledge, at my side here in the studio as co-host.
Glad to be here.
And we have Minot's first and only, the dark sorcerer, necromancer of Ghost Bath, Supreme himself, fresh off of an international tour with an upcoming show at the Aquarium in North Dakota. Thank you, Dennis Mikula, for joining us once again on the Good Talk.
Hey, good to be here.
Yeah, it's always good. I know I probably embellish your sorceress powers a little bit when you come on here, but it fit. If the shoe fits. The shoe fits. Yeah. Out there carving up the world in your latest international tour, right? You just hit like a couple dozen or more dates on the international scene.
Yeah, it was just we were gone for 2 months, pretty much all of May and June, and I have like a month and a half off for the next one. So.
And you got to revisit that the festival you guys played last year, right?
No, we played a couple different ones. Usually they don't like to put the same band on the same festival 2 years in a row.
I guess
this year we hit up Hellfest in France, and last year it was Bloodstock was a big one that was in the UK.
Bloodstock. That sounds pretty savage. Anything different? Are you guys like expanding? Like it seems pretty awesome that you're able to nail down so many like of these European and international dates. Are you loved more over there? Are they a more metal culture that plays to your style more, or is like what's the balance between your US tours and your international tours?
I mean, international tours, including just going to Europe, which is all we've done so far, are more about building a fan base and just getting fans, while the US is more about actually making money. When you go overseas, the expenses are exponentially more, and so even if you're making a ton, you're spending so much just to make that
to be on the road. Okay.
Yeah, just plane tickets. You have to rent everything because you don't ship your gear over there. That would be crazy expensive.
So the venues don't provide that shit as part of like your agreement. You're often finding yourself renting that.
Yeah, we rent our own backline, and we just bring it in it's a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, and so it fits all of our gear and all of us in the van. It's a pretty nice van. And then we got to get a driver, a tour manager, because we don't know how to drive over there or work with the shows.
You didn't want to take on the endeavor of being the driver guy, huh? Nobody in the band wanted to step up and do that. I don't blame you.
I think over there it'd be pretty tough. Just I don't know, because a lot of the shows we were headlining, and so we have to be there first,
cool.
Sound check, leave last, and then drive like all day. So it'd be really rough if we didn't have a driver, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure it would be brutal, and just getting then that way you don't got to worry about getting lost either. Nobody's trying to like navigate that. You just like a load off, man. Having somebody to dial all that in for you. So you guys are headlining a lot of spots. Are you, obviously this being your second time around, you're finding some more growth throughout the European community. Are they? I had a guy, Justin Perez, and he's done some cool sound teching, and he's traveled around a little bit. He felt like in the international community that, I don't know, they were just different. They loved the music more. Are they partying as hard over there? Do they seem to be as more into the music, or is it just does each scene just kind of vary and each show just kind of have its own vibe?
Yeah, I would say everything's so different. Like when you're in a different country every day, it's just there's so much to take in, so it's hard to really focus on any one thing. I would say,
Yeah, fuck, between driving and setup and sound testing, then you're there all night.
yeah,
Yeah, like you got just enough time to take a shit, get a bite to eat, and catch some shut eye before the next one, right?
yeah, pretty much. I mean, everyone asks us like, "Hey, did you go check this out, check that out?" It's like, no, we
Oh,
we
bro,
drove all day, we sound checked, and then we played, and then we went to sleep. You know? But this last tour, we kind of did some, kind of partied a lot more for some reason, and I think we kind of scared the bands we were with.
oh my God, why were you
Last
guys
time we were
performing
there,
ritual
we were with,
sacrifice?
No. We were with American bands, and so I don't know, we kind of got each other, but like this time around we were with German bands and Swedish bands, and like literally every night they just went to sleep right after the show, and we would party until like 5-6 a.m. every night somehow. So
Somehow.
yeah, somehow. Like I was surprised. I don't really
You don't
drink
strike
too
me
much
as a
when I'm
partier.
Yeah, exactly. But like every show, there's somebody who wanted to hang out with us. Actually, I could bring this up. When we were in Scotland, Belfast. No, not Belfast. Glasgow. Yeah, Glasgow. We hung out with this couple, and they were extras in Game of Thrones as wildlings, and they know a bunch of people up there who are as well, and they met the
That's
cast
awesome.
and everything. Yeah.
I would wear that as a badge of honor.
For sure.
They got to be wildlings, wildling extras. They were killed. I was killed at Hardhome. Like, I was right there. There's me, wildling number 1,296. That's glorious. Yeah, we
I
were.
thought that was pretty cool.
We were.
Really nice.
So a lot of game. Do you run into a lot of Game of Thrones fans over there?
I mean,
I know you're kind of a Game of Thrones nerd, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
but,
I figured
it
as
didn't
much.
Come up too often.
What's that?
I said it didn't come up too often. Just when we were hanging out in like Scotland and Ireland.
Right on. Well, 'cause that's where the show, as you said, you met them there. That there's so many of the locations are filmed between those two spots, Scotland and Ireland. Now, so you didn't get any little stretch of time. Didn't you take like a week during the tour to kind of just check out the area, or were you just grinding the whole time?
Over the 2 months, I think we had 10 days off, 12 days off, but not in a row. And so
A day off was a day of driving, essentially.
sometimes, yeah, it depended. We took a lot of ferries. One of the coolest ferries was Sweden to Finland, and it's just a giant party ferry. And I don't think like our driver is he's like straight edge. He like doesn't drink at all or anything.
Well, it's just the kind of driver you want, right? Come on.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's
good.
perfect.
It's cool. And so I don't think he knew he signed us up for this like party boat, because everyone on the boat, they just they book a spot. I think it's like €8, and then they just party all weekend because it goes to Finland and then it goes back to Sweden. And so they just like go on this boat to party. There's like 3 different dance floors and like a sunroof like dance area. It was just crazy. Like I didn't sleep at all that night.
You guys were on that ferry for a day?
That was a 12-hour ferry.
It was a 12-hour party ferry, you mean?
Yeah.
That sounds fucking awesome. How many people they pack on that thing, you think? What's the weather like? Is it shorts weather over there? Is it nice? I don't even know. What's the climate?
Yeah, it was super nice the whole time. And a lot of Europe doesn't believe in air conditioning, so it was brutal. And I was very glad to be back in a airport when we could. I was just like, oh man, when we were stuck in.
That's one of the hilarious aspects that I never would have considered. Hey, so what's the air conditioning situation when you're touring Europe? Obviously, it fucking sucks, huh?
Yeah.
Just I'm a sweaty mess everywhere I go.
We were in Italy for like 4 days. It somehow like we got there a day early, I think. Then we had a show, and then we had 2 days off there, and there was just no air conditioning. It was, oh my god. I think I had just like a thin film of like sweat on my body the whole 2 months probably.
Just like nobody fucking touch me, I'm slimy. It's constantly. Like you're just so sticky that even really you shower and you get out of the shower and within an hour it's just back.
Pretty much. That's how it went. And then obviously playing shows. I mean, I already, even if it's not hot, I like drip with sweat. But
of course.
Like, oh man, every night it was just so much sweat. We had to do laundry a lot.
So I don't suppose your driver or tour manager was also the laundry guy.
No, we did that ourselves.
All right, not quite at that rock star status yet. Nobody's doing your laundry and sorting your M&Ms for you.
No, I mean, once we can afford it, the next thing I would want is a sound guy to come along and work the sound for us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A house guy doing it every night.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I think yeah, having your own sound dude to tweak things out, obviously a really good idea. So I know we definitely wanted to talk a little bit about the tour just real quick. Ghost Bath, you guys are kicking ass. Making your name out there on the international scene. We plugged it on the Good Talk Minot, but you guys have a pretty cool return home show coming up, right? Saturday? Today's August 5th?
The 5th, we're playing at the Aquarium. Should be fun. We played there one other time. It was a festival. It's called the New Direction Fest. And they wanted us back, so yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of listeners, of course, throughout the Minneapolis, Fargo, and North Dakota area. So if any of you guys are into the metal scene and you want to check out a North Dakota boy coming back playing Fargo, it should be a pretty kick-ass show at the Aquarium. It's Dennis Mikula, it's Ghost Bath. Go see them if you're in Fargo and you're into that kind of thing. Go have a good time this weekend. These guys are going to put on a show. And I know, as I mentioned, I know you're kind of a Game of Thrones nerd, and I wanted to kind of get you on one of our Game of Thrones shows. I haven't been able to work that out, but because we like to do that one live in studio, maybe someday I'll have my technology and I'll be cool enough where I'll figure out how to bring somebody in live during a live show. But until then, any like Game of Thrones related thoughts, theories, ideas that we can squeeze out of you for a minute here? Any commentary that you'd like to put out there to the Game of Thrones world as seen from Dennis Mikula?
Let me think.
I know you said you really enjoyed the shows that we did here on the Good Talk. I appreciate you listening. I knew you were a fellow nerd. I felt like we did a pretty cool job covering a lot of just neat topics, and this last night's episode was pretty powerful. We only have 4 episodes left, guys.
I think let's see. One thing I wanted to mention was the storyline I like least, or I did like least, was Sam for a long time, and I think this season it's finally turning around a little bit for me. I'm more interested in it. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people might say that he was one of the slower storylines. Very meaningful. Yeah. There's kind of a crazy theory going around about Sam that he is actually the one narrating this story.
Yeah, I saw that.
That when it's all said and done, he will have essentially been the Meister or historian who put all the stories of Robert's Rebellion and all of this together. And apparently there's been some foreshadowing about that. So anyways, I had to jump in there with that just because mentioning Sam, it'd be neat. It'd be interesting to see if that really was true. And there seems to be, like I said, some moments in the show that back that up. What else Game of Thrones you got for us?
Let me think. One thing I noticed was, I don't know if you guys did this new season, Sansa has started wearing her hair exactly like Cersei.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely, dude.
That was pretty interesting.
Well, and she also said that she learned from Cersei, and she has said again,
exactly.
Well, she kind of defended Cersei when
to
in
a
front
point.
of Jon Snow. Yeah,
to a point,
for sure.
She fears, admires, and respects Cersei on many layers. Many layers. I was worried there for a second that Sansa was going to be pregnant with Ramsay's kid. I'm glad that didn't happen. I was worried about that going into this season. Like, I'm pumped, man. Four episodes left. It's gonna be crazy.
I think next week's gonna be a joy. I feel like we're gonna see something major happen over at Castle Rock. I have a feeling.
Grey Worm's dying.
Someone's dying because the Navy's gone, and the Ironborn are at their gates.
Yeah.
So does
all
Daenerys
of
show up
yeah.
with dragons? Does Dany show up with dragons?
All of Daenerys' plans have gone poorly for her so far.
Yeah.
She is not her team of advisors. Cersei's kicking their ass.
Yeah, Tyrion just got outsmarted by Jaime. He's like, okay, go take Castle
He pretty
Rock.
much did.
It serves no meaning to us anymore. Do it.
Yeah. Exciting, dude. Exciting. What? Anything else? What else you got? I just what more can I squeeze out of you?
deep.
Like I'll nerd out about Game of Thrones all day, baby. I mean, it's not technically what we're here for, but I wanted to pick your brain while I could.
When Sam was looking at the Dragonstone pages of that book, I paused it and tried to read the pages, and so I thought
That's awesome.
because on one page it said that dragon glass could was used to heal all kind of diseases, so I thought that's how he's gonna heal Jorah. But I don't know. But Jorah seems healed now, so I'm not sure.
But that happened fast.
It did, yeah. Jorah's all of a sudden a new man. He's going to rejoin Daenerys.
He's gonna go die. Well, and I've often pondered what is Jorah's end game, right? Like what?
He's going to die in some horrific fashion.
Die in some horrific fashion, saving Daenerys.
Yeah, he's going to get thrown in front of Daenerys in front of some sort of Lannister death plot or something.
Gonna save her from an ice dragon.
Yes.
Because ice dragons are coming, baby.
Yeah, I'm excited, but there's only 4 episodes left this season. Then we have to wait another year.
No, probably 2 years, bro.
Yeah, that's sad.
Word is the latest word is that season 8, the final season will be the longest season ever, but it'll only be the 6 episodes.
Yeah.
However, they're all
2 hours.
90 minutes or more.
Yeah, 2 hours an episode is what they're looking at. That's pretty sweet.
It is, but they're gonna make you wait till 2018.
Yeah, that's
or 2019. Excuse me.
That's gonna be hard.
Do you guys want to wait 2 years for more Game of Thrones? I don't.
No, definitely not.
I'll be losing my fucking mind by then. I'll be so ready.
They're that popular where they know they could do that, and people would still be there.
Well, and I think they want to. They really. So if 2019 was the final season of Game of Thrones, in 2020, whatever their follow up has to launch right there.
Yeah.
I know they had 5 different, essentially pilot writers, teams writing 5 different concepts was what I had read. They had 5 different concepts in the work, and from that they were going to choose whatever 1 or 2 that they felt like could be the successor spiritually to Game of Thrones. Still in that world.
Yeah.
Whether it's a because they could go back. I'd love to see the Robert's Rebellion.
They want to avoid a Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul scenario where Better Call Saul is an amazing show, but it doesn't have the numbers it could because it launched so much farther after Breaking Bad was finished. And
people seem to love Breaking. People seem to love that. Yeah. So
weren't they planning to do a alternate Civil War?
Yeah, they want to do it. They want to.
Well, that's these showrunners. Yeah, these guys are not coming back to Game of Thrones. And they apparently have been given the green light, and HBO is backing them. They're doing a show that reevaluates the end of the Civil War, where it would be where the South actually won. It takes place in the modern era, but in an alternate universe where the South won that war. So I think that's a really unique concept.
They like building worlds, and this is going to be given another opportunity to do that.
I think it sounds crazy.
Yeah, I'm in.
It sounds cool.
I'm in.
I think it sounds cool.
Somebody tried to throw some
controversy about it, though.
Yeah,
whatever.
What? Why is that so controversial, Dennis? I don't get it.
I have no idea. Don't ask me. I don't know.
Don't ask me.
Oh my God! You have the South winning the war,
Dennis. I want you to account for the stupidity in society right now.
What are your mental ways telling you?
What about Building 7?
Right? No, it was I didn't understand that when I had heard, like I say, there was comments. I was like, well, what? Because they want to present an alternate universe. It's science fiction. It's writing. It's entertainment. How is this? I don't know. How is this bad? How can you try to cast shade on it? Yeah, that seemed like fuckery to me. That anybody would attempt that, because these guys, they gave us Game of Thrones and it's been amazing, and whatever they do next, it will be intelligent and well written and amazing. And hey, hopefully whatever comes after Thrones is also the same quality.
As far as I'm concerned, they have earned my watch for whatever they decide to do.
Yeah.
I will give it a chance. Whatever they decide to do, they have earned that for me.
Yeah, I would be wholly inclined to agree with that assessment. So, so speaking of fuckery and weird happenings and controversy, Dennis, you are a man of conspiracies, and we did. It was funny last time we had you on the show. We talked a little bit about another conspiracy, and I had a few people that were like, "Oh man, I was so disappointed when that show ended because I wanted to hear more." And I said, "Hey, don't worry, Dennis will be back. We'll talk conspiracies again." It's been a while since we've really dove into any fun conspiracies on the show. And not that, I guess I don't want to say that what we're going to talk about today is fun in concept if it really happened. Yeah, it's fun to talk about and whatever, to discuss for the most part conspiracy theories. And I don't know if that is even a proper term to apply to what we're going to talk about today, and it's Pizzagate. I know James is rather well read up on Pizzagate, and as you said, you like to indulge in a lot of conspiracies. A lot of people who I know that I respect and admire throughout the intellectual community really subscribe to this, that this is a situation that really happened. It's not a conspiracy, and it was sort of, I felt like it was brushed over in the news a little bit, where just, some weird situation where a guy got murdered in a fucking pizza joint. So either one of you guys jump in and illuminate a little bit what is Pizzagate, when we're like, how can we just kind of openly, for anybody who's not familiar, what the fuck is Pizzagate?
Yeah, you go ahead, Dennis. You would definitely explain it a lot more elegantly than I could, I'm sure.
Maybe.
It's a deep one. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
Is there a Cliff Note version of like, here's what it is, and then kind of what happened? Just give us the breakdown.
The basic idea is that there is a child sex trafficking ring in like high levels of the government, and I think the main conspiracy broke out with the WikiLeaks of the DNC emails, and then I don't know where like it exactly originated, but I started hearing about it and started looking into it, as a ton of people have. There's so many videos on it already.
There's a lot of information out there on Pizzagate.
There's a lot to go over, but that's the basic idea.
Well, right,
why it's called Pizzagate, I guess I should get into, is because one of the main
code words, right? Pizza was one of the code words they were using when they were describing children in these exchanges.
Anthony Weiner had mentioned in some of the emails that were leaked, he'd bring up like pizza, and he'd be contacting the owner of this pizza establishment, and
then like one of the main guys owns a pizza place, and it's on this street with all these pizza places, and that's also why it's called Pizzagate. Right.
Yeah, because again, pizza was. So this is a sex trafficking ring, where they're trading children, essentially, is what is on the line, is what is being suggested.
Yep.
Boys, girls, where are they getting them from? Are they being kidnapped? Do you guys are these children being handled? Are their parents in on it? Do you know?
That I don't know. I've heard. Go ahead.
There's a mix on that. A lot of information pertains to the crisis in Haiti, and a lot of weird happenings with people involved with Haiti, and like
after the earthquake, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the human trafficking skyrocketed. They say a lot of people were fucking kidnapped during that situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can look at numbers that will back that up. Now, well, of course, when you want to start to look at what happened to these children, well, maybe something like Pizzagate, because there are legitimate stories to back up the mass disappearances in the wake of the Haiti disaster. So it's suggested that perhaps some of these children fueled into the Pizzagate scandal were funneled there from Haiti or from other. I wonder, just any place internationally where there are massive mass poverty and displaced people. Do you think? No? Yeah? Anyone?
I mean, I haven't. Yeah, I think the reason people are looking at Haiti is some of the people. There's a woman who is charged with trafficking children, and there's another woman working there who is. Well, I think they say it was a suicide, like they always do, but she died.
Of course.
And then the person like charged was like pardoned by Clinton, like right when she could, and so that's where a lot of the Haiti and like her foundation was down there, so that's where everyone's making those connections.
Okay, I mean, human trafficking is it's scary, and it's a big deal. Like it's one of those crimes that is ongoing that I feel like people are a little bit blinded to, right? Like we're always so caught up on drug offenses and these other more relatable, more like it's easier to see somebody as a drug dealer or an addict or a burglar. But when you start like human trafficking and you start peeling back the layers, these are generally speaking pretty complex networks of people that are doing this. Any human trafficking outfit that has been busted, there is always multiple layers to their organization. So when you start to apply the concept of human trafficking to people with money, with influence and power, that it's even more scary at that point, right?
Yeah, the powerful people have the most resources to do this stuff with, and what I know is that Hillary Clinton's name is brought into this a lot, like a lot. So
that was that part of the effort that some people made to. Oh, they were just trying to demonize Hillary or make Hillary look bad by attaching her to this sex scandal. Because I'm gonna tell you this right now. I don't doubt for one moment something like this exists. I don't doubt for a moment that at some high level, and I don't know enough yet, and I hope to continue to learn a little bit more about Pizzagate, but I simply don't have any doubt in my mind.
Yeah, the second we close our mind to the possibility of something like this happening is the second it slips us by. So even if Pizzagate is a complete crapshoot and there's nothing legitimate about it, you can't. It's always worth looking into these stories, regardless of where they come from.
Right. Well, what is the evidence, Dennis? What is some of like the hard evidence that you've come across as you've researched and read about Pizzagate that they can say, look, here's some real shit?
Okay. Well, first of all, when you're saying we should at least look into it, I should say there's like been no investigation about this or anything yet.
No lawful official investigation.
Yeah. And
weird.
So like, I don't know. To me, even if there's any possibility, I feel like there should be an investigation. But
of course.
Anyway.
Yeah. No. You ain't gonna get no argument about that from us.
The censoring of this is also, before I get to the evidence, pretty annoying. Like proven censoring. Like the CEO of Reddit, a lot of people on Reddit were the ones finding a lot of this evidence, and he admitted to censoring, deleting posts, changing posts, deleting the entire thread of Pizzagate, all that kind of stuff. Same with Facebook, Twitter. I mean, people get their posts taken down.
I seem to recall you saying a few times on Facebook you had posts of yours taken down.
Yeah, exactly. I posted just it was like a meme of Hillary pouring a beer, and like it's all head on the beer. I don't know. I just thought it was funny, and yeah, it just got removed. And if you look at Pizzagate on Facebook, you look it up, you can see how many people are talking about it, and they're all like stuck at 1,000, which is very weird. Like it's usually some random number. Like what's the odds of it just being at 1,000 at all times? So I don't know. I just think it's weird that they would be censoring.
Yeah, definitely an abnormality that is worth noting. That there is
I'm
an
not saying why
right,
they're doing it or anything.
but you are simply identifying factually there has been internet censorship toward Pizzagate.
Yeah,
that's happened.
Yeah, and the Reddit being taken down was a big deal at the time. I
Yeah.
remember the internet was in an uproar over that for sure.
As well, they should be.
The
Okay.
thing is, they take down that Reddit, but there's a Reddit called like Pedo Friends or something, and they just leave that up. So that's I don't know.
That's fucking gross. Really?
Yeah.
What the?
So like, if
What
you're
the
gonna censor
fuck?
That say, oh, I don't want people talking about
A little bit backwards.
stuff. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, from what I've heard, and correct me if I'm mistaken, the originations of Pizzagate came from various forums where someone had brought this up in this particular pizza joint, and that's where and then it got picked up by like the Alex Joneses of the world, and I think he kind of brought it along with Reddit to kind of the mainstream, more extremism pundits. But as it went on and more videos and things were being collected, then it started getting the attention of more people who wouldn't necessarily gravitate to that kind of media, and that's one of the reasons why the Reddit following became so large and why it was such a big deal when it was ultimately taken down. So that's where I first heard of it when I saw a Joe Rogan pod with Alex Jones, and they were talking about this. That's the first time I had ever heard of it. Yeah. So I listened to that whole podcast with Joe Rogan, and I thought he did a great job of kind of wrangling in Alex Jones a little bit, because he could
did
be
pretty. Eddie Bravo was the one who got out of control in that episode.
Oh, Eddie Bravo went ballistic.
God.
Yeah.
Eddie Bravo kind of derailed that episode a little bit.
He did, which is why when I listen to that back, I listen to snippets of it, and I don't listen to that whole thing, because Eddie Bravo's just unlistenable.
But it was a great show, though.
It was a
great
good show.
I'm
It was a good show.
really glad that Alex came on there.
For sure, yeah, because he's one of the people who got to latch on, and like I said, more of the extreme pundits were the ones that actually picked it up and ran with it and sought more information about it when the mainstream media wouldn't touch it. So, and although like I'm not an Alex Jones guy at all, but I appreciate that he will talk about these things not the off chance, but the chance that we do find out something remarkably sound about it and remarkably unmistakable.
All right, how many times do you have to be right against how many times you are wrong when throwing out these ideas or concepts in order for you to be considered a valuable source of information or not? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just wondering, like, because he throws out a lot of generally, so oftentimes well-researched opinions and thoughts and ideas, but other times, obviously, it's very ranting and it feels very lopsided and strange.
He is not stupid. He's not stupid.
Right. He's not an unintelligent person by any means. Like I'm avoiding calling him a crazy ranting conspiracy theorist. But he wears that though. That's the kind of
he does, and he that's where he has his following, and that's why he can't get. He'll never get a post at like a Fox News or even like a Breitbart used to be sort of like that, but now they're kind of with the Milo thing. They're kind of. Even they are pulling back a little bit.
Oh
from
yeah,
the far
that
right
Milo
movement.
thing was bad for them.
Yeah, and I guess my issue with Alex
he jumped
Jones
on and
is,
presented a lot of.
He did, and no, I appreciate him doing that, because we do that we do need that person, and like I don't. Like, I know you two are the same as I, as we don't give a crap. Like, we don't listen to the mainstream media as far as we can throw them. It's, and I guess Alex Jones is very, very one-sided, and I just don't like bias really at all in any facet of the world. And along the lines of he just happened to be the guy that picked it up. It could have been any extreme, whether he was a libertarian or whether he was a socialist or whatever, could have picked this exact story up, because it has to do with the core of the DNC. So
it is. So it was mainly in sticking back, getting a little bit. We were digressing a little too far, which is okay. But getting back to Pizzagate, was this primarily when we're talking people, high level people of influence? We're talking politicians were implicated in this, Dennis, right?
Yep. Politicians.
What about like who else? Like prominent members of the communities, or were there big names? Was it all Democratic people? Was it Republican people? Can you highlight a little bit more who was implicated overall?
Sure. Yeah, it was Democratic for the most part because that's whose emails were leaked.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say because they were possibly the only ones. You just don't know.
Is it possible Russia just did all this to fuck with everybody's heads and to fuck up Hillary's campaign to help Trump get in there?
No one's denied that those emails are real emails, and I don't think it's ever been discovered that a WikiLeaks email has been proven to be like false or fabricated. So I don't know. I think if they weren't real,
that's good information right there.
Like, oh, they just made this up, you know.
Okay.
But the emails themselves have never been denied that those are the emails. Obviously, we've heard the story. They're just mad that they were released. So obviously, I would say they're real emails.
Yeah, I don't think WikiLeaks' job is not to like fabricate emails. Like, if it's not real, they're not going to release it because they do enjoy that credibility they have and being the white knight and exposing corruption. So, and why would they threaten that for this? That's a question I would ask.
Yeah, very valid, logical, good. Okay, so we've got mostly
in the emails. The main two people I think talked about are John Podesta.
Yep.
He is the campaign manager for Hillary, or was, and James Alefantis. He's the one who owns the pizza joint, Comet Pizza, and not a lot of people know who he is because he's not an actual politician, but his pizza joint hosts like charity events, and a lot of politicians eat at his place. And he was named one of the most powerful people in Washington. So I think most influential and powerful.
And this is just a guy who, on paper, owns a pizza joint.
Yep.
Somehow considered one of the most influential people. Okay, that's a hell of a position to rise to as just a dude who operates a pizza joint.
Yeah, exactly. Even his name in French means to love kids or children.
Oh my God, are you serious? That sounds like now it sounds like we're in simulation theory. Or a guy whose name in French means I love boys is somehow linked to a pedophile sex ring.
That's not really like evidence of everything, but like what?
I know it's a weird idiosyncrasy, if you will, right? Like that's just a fucking strange coincidence. So
but like John Podesta is the one who had the most emails, and that's who everyone's been talking about. I don't know if you've seen the guy, John Podesta, the Podesta brothers. They're just highly influential, and he was Hillary's campaign manager. The pizza place itself, I don't know. I'm just gonna get into some random evidence I found.
Yeah, absolutely. Some of the evidence for sure.
So the FBI released a page, like declassified it. It was of symbols that pedophiles use, and the pizza joint has the exact symbol of the boy lover symbol as their logo.
So there's like a weird pedophilia fucking sigil that is commonly used and known. The FBI released documents showing this is the symbol for pedophilia, as universally recognized by these sick fucking weird assholes.
That is correct. And
all over this pizza joint
it's a triangle spiraled inside of itself, and that exact symbol is turned into a piece of pizza for the logo, and since then they've changed their logo, obviously. So I thought that was interesting. The guy who owns that pizza, or not owns, but where is that? The guy who is the registered agent for that pizza place is called Besta Pizza. You can look it up if you want. He's an attorney for the Human Trafficking Prosecution Unit of the Department of Justice. So that's I don't know.
What are the
all these you could say are coincidence, but I'm just gonna
like?
keep
Well,
it.
how many coincidences have to stack up together before it's not a fucking coincidence anymore? I'm wondering what's the rule? Is there like a James? Is there a scientific rule there that says okay?
Not really. I guess
I mean, come on.
I'm certainly not this is what you're asking. But I am not here to issue whether I agree or disagree with the whole conspiracy.
No, of course not.
We're just here to open dialogue about
Right.
it. And like, my question would then be, why would they be that obvious?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it all obvious?
The logo being because that declassified FBI document is not a strange thing. That's been in criminology.
It's a new one.
In criminology, that's been a kind of a known symbol. And I don't know. Are they that stupid?
The only thing I've heard was that they're pretty arrogant.
Sure. Yeah.
That's the only argument.
Well, look, if you've been doing it for a long time and you have money and you own a few people, yeah, you get to a point of arrogance and just sheer, unadulterated, powerful confidence that nobody can get to you. That you are indomitable at this point. Because what brought this all to a head was a guy showed up to that pizza joint and started killing people, right?
He brought out a gun and started. Yeah,
he didn't kill anyone.
No, he didn't kill the gun. He did not shoot anybody.
Oh,
yeah.
There's also conspiracies about that guy. Also, just him being an actor. Just before he like ran over a girl with his car, like a week before that incident. I don't know, just a lot of weird things.
Because he's the guy that essentially got Alex Jones to rescind everything he's ever said about Pizzagate. Because Alex Jones issued a bunch of apologies and said he'd never speak of it again after that happened.
So Alex Jones came out after the fact and said that he had Pizzagate all wrong?
Yeah, I don't know if he meant...
I don't think he said it that way.
No, it wasn't that with Alex Jones, he'll never admit that he's completely wrong about something anyway. Because you can't... It doesn't disregard all the evidence that he had researched but I don't know if he meant he was laying it on a little thick, or I don't know.
Well, because there's the I know what you're talking about. In the weird emails, you've got, they are obviously talking about an exchange of goods and or services in it just would be weird if they were talking about and eating that much pizza. Because I've seen some of these. Like I've seen some of these emails and stuff. And you're telling me all these guys, all these super fucking rich politicians are slamming 100 pizzas or whatever between 30, 40 of them? No, come on. That's like there was some peculiarities there when you assess the back and forth. There's an exchange.
There's certainly.
You can watch, if you've watched enough heist movies or drug movies, or you've watched documentaries and you've read and you are studied. Like obviously, nobody who is dealing in any sort of like illicit activity just outright uses, hey, I got 25 9-year-old boys, ready to service these 63-year-old men just waiting to do sexual favors. Like it's never outright.
There's one thing close to that, but yeah, most of it is in like coded language where
it's a subversion of language is what's happening. There is in these like linguistically when you're again being a part of these acts, they're subverting language in a way that throws off the signal, right? That's why it's Pizzagate, because pizza was the code word, etc. And I think there wasn't there links where like certain kinds of pizza was referring to certain types of boys or certain types of underage or specific minors, right?
Yeah. There's a whole code system like hot dogs, cheese, pizza, pasta, all that kind of stuff where everyone. I mean, you could say, oh yeah, you're just assigning it to those, but if you look at the emails, I mean, they're not talking about food. Like it doesn't make sense really. There's so many emails about going for pizza and stuff that could be, okay, they're just going to grab some pizza, but then there's strange ones also using pizza. I can read one let's see. This one is to John Podesta. It says, "Hi, John," and like, listen to this with a skeptical ear because it could be anything, but it just doesn't make sense to me. The realtor found a handkerchief, in quotation marks. I think it has a map that seems pizza related. Is it yours? They can send it if you want. Like what? I don't know what to make of that.
It's certainly not. That raises an eyebrow for sure.
Yeah, and all I'm saying is, they're not. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. There's obviously no map. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Not enough information there to really say anything about it.
I'm wondering if this had not been an election year where this was brought out, would there have been more effort to talk about it in mainstream media?
No.
I don't think so.
No, it's an uncomfortable subject, and it seems like they want to ostracize this again as some sort of crazy conspiracy theory. Somebody was just a madman. Oh, the internet, it was fake news. It's so easy to spin this.
Yep.
And especially like as Dennis was saying, well, nobody's actively tried to prosecute anybody or look into this further. Nobody wants to follow the money. You start to follow the money. Like, there's got to be some money linked in there somewhere, right? Like, is there no?
There's got to be. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's. I guess that's why you'd run that sort of ring is for profit.
Right. Where's the money? But again, if you can't even get anybody to investigate this as though it were a real thing, well, then it is what it is. Like nobody's out there. We've got a bunch of internet sheriffs who have figured out the key, if you will, or we think we have, or what. But there's nobody there to act upon any of this quote unquote evidence. Like what is the if there was somebody who wanted to say, all right, we're going to give this the benefit of the doubt, why isn't there anybody doing that? Is there any conjecture or ideas onto that, Dennis or James, that we have all this, again, weird, peculiar emails, it's unlocked information, it's all there. Why isn't there any investigation whatsoever? Does anybody thoughts on that?
It'd probably be fear. I mean, if we look at one of the leakers to WikiLeaks, or he wasn't stated as one of the leakers, but who's the guy who owns WikiLeaks?
Julian Assange.
Yeah, okay. So he alluded that this guy was one of the leakers, but he wouldn't outright say it. This guy was in the middle of Washington, the middle of a park at 3 a.m., shot in the back, and they say it was a failed robbery. Nothing of his was taken, and it wasn't looked into further. And he supposedly was one of the leakers.
So the people providing this information and looking into this, they're if you're sort of buying into the possibility that this is real, here we have one of the potentially main leakers and sources of information that was randomly gunned down in broad daylight. Right?
3 a.m.
Oh, okay, sorry. 3 a.m.
Something like that, yeah.
See, that part that part I did not know about.
Andrew Breitbart, the guy who started Breitbart, the site. If you go to one of his last tweets before he died March 1st. This tweet is from the 4th of February.
Yeah, that Breitbart death was weird, yeah.
He says, how Prague guru John Podesta isn't household name as a world-class underage sex slave operative, cover-upper defending unspeakable dregs escapes me.
Wow.
And then, he died less than a month after that. And this was before, the whole Pizzagate thing. This was 2011.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
It goes back.
So he implied back then this man was involved in this sex trafficking. And when did Breitbart die?
2012.
Wow. See, the deaths are those really jump out to me.
Because this is in 2011, like when this happened. So it had nothing to do with the election then.
No. Well, I mean, how far do they plan ahead? I don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly, Podesta was gearing up for a run. You would imagine that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't have anything else to add.
Any other peculiar deaths linked to the overarching story? Because that's some of the biggest fuel to me.
Okay.
You're talking.
Actual...
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, it's like, well, you're talking about the guy, a quote unquote failed robbery attempt. If he killed him and he was already dead, then why wasn't anything taken?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I think that one's very strange.
Well, there's a lot there, and there are oftentimes when you are pursuing a story against people in a position of power. Again, these are people with influence, with billions of dollars on the line. Like their level of control and their sphere of influence and their capacity to modify the narrative is astonishing, and it's a little frightening, to be perfectly clear.
Yeah,
and that's
there's one Monica Peterson. She moved to Haiti. She was a research fellow and assistant director at the Human Trafficking Center, and I think the death is not really explained. One person found on some of the comments on her actual Facebook that all I know is that she committed suicide and left a note. I don't know the cause of death or anything else. And I think the death has not been announced as of this writing, so I don't know. That was another death.
Was there numbers as to how many political individuals? Are we talking dozens that are potentially involved in this? Is it 7 or is it 30? Do you guys know generally what the widespread network that was being implicated numbers wise?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
okay.
I
was just curious.
If I'm playing logically, you would think it was not many in the government itself. Podesta would be the king, like the kingpin of that, of course, that you'd want to go after. Anthony Weiner is obviously somebody that would have probably been implicated in the same thing. But I'm sure it's a lot of his underlings and people that work for Podesta, probably. That's grasping at straws here, but logic says work your way down from the top. So
work your way. So no, there were never any repercussions for any of this, though. None of these insinuations or allegations were further explored, or nobody was sort of held to account, except for maybe the poor guy from WikiLeaks that was murdered. Like on the other side of things, that just kind of swept it all under and said, "Oh, yeah, you guys got nothing."
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few. The few news stories have just basically said it's fake news. We're not going to talk about this. It's totally bogus. Nothing, no details or nothing about the actual case at all.
Well, in some ways too, that almost begs another question: is what do we know that is fake news anymore? How did we ever know what is or what was or was not fake news? What do you think on the whole fake news dilemma, Dennis? In this age of information, we used to say that, oh well, hey, it was in the paper or it was on the 5 o'clock news. Shit must be real. Oh, CNN. Oh, they're great. 24-hour news. They tell me everything I need to know. But at what point can we slice the line and determine, well, this is fake news and this is actually how it is? I know it's an ongoing challenge.
I think the term has just been thrown around a lot more lately to describe just like strongly spun news in one way or another, like anything that is leaning towards one bias or another is just called fake news, I guess.
Which is reckless.
Yeah, I mean,
That
like
is sort of a
that.
reckless application of that term. And because I do agree to a point, as you said, if it's a source of information that's representing a bias, in some ways, it's not to say it's fake news per se, but it is trying to align your thinking in a certain way.
Yeah, and in the emails, going back to the Pizzagate thing, there's also a lot on the news, and let's see what all came out. Giving Hillary the questions before the debate came out, and somebody was fired for that. Hillary meeting. This is all about Hillary, obviously, because of the time it came out and the DNC. Hillary's meeting with a bunch of journalists in private to discuss how she wants them to present certain news stories, telling them what to write, editing news stories before they go up, just basically spinning everything exactly how the DNC wanted it to come out, I guess.
Well, it didn't work for him. She lost.
No, it didn't.
But I don't know, James. Like, what do you think that? Like, how do we disseminate from fake or not fake, or this is real or not real? Because I find myself struggling with that sometimes. I'm like, well, I like to read this or I like to read that, and what makes my information better than somebody else's?
We live in an age where Joe Schmo can get on his computer and report a story. That wasn't the way it was in 1930s and up. I was reading an article by an old reporter from the Miami Herald. He retired some time ago, and he was asked this kind of same question, like, how do you wrap your head around the fake news? And he's like, well, reporters started getting lazy, and we now live in a not to inform media. We're kind of stretching to gotcha media and strong opinionated media anymore. We gravitate more to talking heads than we do to factual based articles anymore, because no one likes to read a lot anymore. So he said, we used to go to my editor all the time and try to report something tipped off by an anonymous source, and editor wouldn't touch it. He says, if you can't stick a name to what gave you the information, it's irresponsible to print it. And now
seems fair.
When we're fighting for, he said, when we're all fighting for the first report, we're fighting for the strong talking points.
The high ratings.
Yeah, the high ratings. We become irresponsible with what we report, because now we'll then go on these anonymous sources and we'll report on it. And that's where quote-unquote fake news originates from. And that's just an article I read. I'm not sure if I particularly subscribe to philosophy.
There's some valid assessments.
You hear
in
from
there.
a guy who's done and seen law and has watched the industry change over 50 plus years in writing.
Well, I have friends who are journalists, and they've said it here on the show. My buddy Derek Olson, who's a journalist, great dude, and we look forward to having him on the Good Talk here in August a couple of times while he's home visiting Minot. But he has said, look, any writer, journalist, or storyteller that claims to be completely objective, even if they don't know it, is full of shit.
Sure,
because nobody can write or produce something of that nature that isn't influenced by their own individual or personal feelings. Mm-hmm. Even they can try real hard, and some of them might do a better job than others. But ultimately, as that story or that article or whatever unfolds, there is always a personal layer of influence that you're going to put on it. I do find that on an individual level, I think that is different from a network goal, right? Where there is undeniably a layer of mass psychology or influence or cognitive persuasion happening on some of the vast networks. So I don't and somebody's asked me, well, what do you know is fake and what do you know, how do you know it isn't? And like I said, what makes your information or your news or your media better than mine? And well, you say Fox News or CNN is, quote, fake news. Well, is CNN fake? Is everything they're reporting fucking fake? No. But are they probably trying to get you to think in certain ways? Yes. Does that mean every layer and every page and every article of information ever that comes from CNN is flawed or unusable? What do you guys think? How do you consider this? Dennis?
I mean, personally, after the leaked questions being given before the debate, I just kind of, I don't know. I never really watched the news anyway. But yeah, if I see something on any of the major networks, I basically look it up again. Like that's not my source, and then I have to get like several sources that agree with it or
for sure.
say the same thing before I can accept any. Like even CNN, Fox, MSNBC, any of them.
Yeah, we're past the day where you can take, I saw this on MSNBC or NBC or Fox News or name blank media corporation. We're past the day where you can just believe everything they're telling you. Just back up sources, back up what point you want to make.
Yes, continue to use the internet as a resource. It's really unfortunate because there are, for every one or two of you who is willing to evaluate the information you're being presented, there are 5 or 6 or 7 people who are willing to take that information as it was presented. And then potentially you've just got mass widespread arcs of fake or biased news that is influencing mass sections of society.
As a scientist, from this perspective, the scientists are in a constant struggle trying to tell people climate change is happening, and we get hit from one side of we get hit from one side of media for that. Then we try and talk about how GMOs are safe. That's another hot button topic. We get attacked from the other side of the aisle, per se, the other side of the media, and then talking heads get a hold of it, and it's hard to disseminate what those talking heads say as factual and what is opinion based. And that is why all of this research that scientists have been doing for 50 plus years on topics like GMOs and topics like climate change gets thrown into the wayside because they have more power as to what people believe than a scientist does. They know how to market. A scientist researches and reports, but they're not good marketers.
No doubt.
That's true. That reminds me of something random, but I remember Bill Nye. He debated some creationists. Yeah.
Yep.
And even though I agreed with Nye's points, I definitely think he lost that debate, and I definitely think most people think he lost that debate because I don't know, he didn't know how to market, how to present it, how to put it in a way where people latch onto it, I guess. Like a lot of what he was doing was just like a college seminar or something.
Yeah, I like the best person that does this, and he doesn't like to get political, is Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, in terms of being personable, being charismatic.
Yeah, being charismatic.
Being able to identify with people.
Bill Nye is not charismatic, and like Dennis said, he did a poor job marketing his side, where Ken Ham was much more polished in that aspect, and that's why Ken Ham got a lot of praise for that particular debate. And it's very hard to debate against faith when you're trying to present science. It's very, very, very difficult. But
I watch that stuff all the time, and I thought that was definitely a poor debate. Like I've probably seen thousands of hours of those types of debates. And
for sure.
I don't know. I was kind of disappointed that was the one that got so much attention.
Yeah, he had the big names. Like I think Jesse Cox has done it so much better. Another scientist who's just more charismatic. Tyson has. I mean, really, Carl Sagan used to be the king of this, debating that particular point, and then. It really, Einstein talked about it, Hawking talks about it all the time, but Bill Nye is the face of really modern-day science, but he's not a good marketer, and that's why he got attacked for the show he's done on Netflix, and...
Oh my god, I do not. Don't get me started on that show.
Yeah,
It was pretty bad, huh? His show on Netflix. I didn't see it, but it is tough. If you don't have the charisma to back up a good idea, or you don't have the influence to back up a good idea, even if it is true, even if it is better, you're not going to win. And that's what makes it hard. And I think that when we start carelessly applying the term fake news, it's creating a state of confusion and uncertainty and instability, and I don't know if it's good or not. I like to seek my own information. I like to think for myself, and I encourage that in others. But is there not a value to be had in the former sort of uniformity of this is the information we have at our hand, and do the best you can with it? Because now, like you said, well, for every story, there's a counter story. For every piece of, well, my scientific research says this. Well, guess what? I've got a scientific research that says the other thing.
Yeah, that's
and
frustrating.
It really, it seems like insanity sometimes, because now, it's almost like, because there is so much information and so many fingers being pointed in one direction or another, or for every piece of good journalism, there's somebody else who says it's biased journalism, or every time WikiLeaks exposes something monumental and earth-shattering, like a Pizzagate. Was it real? Are they real? Is it real news? That was fake news. How many people in a position, again, of power and influence who are seeking to dominate or control the scenario are there to catch it as a safeguard, to prevent it? And there's so many different dynamics at play. What the fuck is a person to even do?
Yeah, what do you listen to? What don't you? It's like, I agree with Dennis, and just like when I read a news story, I'm like, I'm gonna, especially if it's like some Facebook crap. Like I take literally most memes, and you see memes on both sides that are just stupid, and you can disprove it in seconds, but actual people believing it and peddling it out.
Like, I used to like to say, well, Snopes is great, and then someone's like, oh, well, Snopes is just influenced and paid, and they're just progressive, and like, man, fuck. Okay, so what the fuck? Go get your fucking encyclopedia, then go to the library and just get me a few research documents that just proves this. It's just so weird when, again, you've got everybody's warring to be right, and nobody's warring to just be proper. It seems like I'm okay being wrong, right? Like, more people need to have a willingness.
We have just huge egos, and we the media has gotten good at just telling us what we want to hear.
Yeah.
And when they do that,
I
they
think
get lazy with how they report it. They don't fact check anything. They know they're gonna get the ratings for what they're doing, and that's fine. That's at the end of the day, that's all they care about. The dollars pour in, the advertising dollars pour in because people are watching it.
Well, then that's exactly. And then, speaking of dollars and money and advertising, well, then advertising and ratings suddenly influence what you do or do not want to put on your news, right? Like, all of a sudden, well, we need more ratings because we need more money from advertisers, or advertisers aren't happy with this content that we produced, and they're threatening to pull out, they're threatening to take away all their money from us because we represented an open mind in some certain aspect, and it's just, that's biased news, right?
Yeah.
That's the very definition of it.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. That's probably what makes it easy. I don't know. I'm not here to say whether or not Pizzagate did or did not happen, or is not real. But certainly, when you consider all these other layers, if it really did happen, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that people in a position of power with money and influence were able to sweep it under the rug, call it fake news, force everybody away from the idea that it really happened. Right, Dennis? I mean, fuck.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they were really smart with their code words, because it's so easy to say we're just talking about eating or this or that, and so you say like, why would you make it so obvious? Well, they're basically,
because they're hiding in plain sight.
If this is true, yeah.
If you're hiding in plain sight, it has to be obvious.
Exactly, and then it's very easy to brush off saying you're talking about pizza or just a pizza place.
Or foot-long hot dogs.
Yeah. I had one email I was waiting for last to share.
Yeah, lay it on us, man.
Yeah, it doesn't talk about any code words. This is to. Hold on, let me make sure I know this. Okay, this is to a ton of DNC staffers, including Podesta, and I mean, there's how many? I don't know. I'd say like 20 people on this
Okay.
email. I'll just read it. With enormous gratitude to Advance Man Extraordinaire Haber, I'm not sure what that is, I am popping up again to share our excitement about the reprise of our gang's visit to the farm in Lovettsville. And I thought I'd share a couple more notes. We plan to heat the pool, so a swim is a possibility. Bonnie will be Uber's service to transport Ruby, Emerson, and Maeve Luzzatto, 11, 9, and almost 7. So you'll have some further entertainment. And they will be in that pool for sure. And with the forecast showing some prospects of some sun and a cooler temp of lower 60s, I suggest you bring sweaters.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, they're
There's a lot of weird things in that email.
Well, again, they're saying, okay, you're having a weird pool party with a heated pool, and we're bringing some random kids.
Yeah, like, would you ever name the ages like that? Say you're Uber servicing them to transport these kids? Like, it's just weird language to use, I guess. And say, so you'll have further entertainment. Like, I don't know. It's the way it's talking about it.
There's a lot of strange verbiage there. I would agree. And it's all contextual, of course. But there is definitely a lot of fucking weird verbiage there that is almost unsettling. You know, if that was one of my kids being talked about in that fashion, I'd be like, well, that's kind of strange. That's some kid that I was like concerned over. Well, what do you mean further entertainment? Why are they going there? Why are there 3 children there at a place with a couple dozen male politicians swimming in a pool? What purpose do they serve? Like, that all seems out of place. Everything about that is out of place. As much as you want to say, well, there's nothing definitive there. There's just stuff that is odd right there. There's oddities.
Yeah, and that's all you can say about it.
Yeah,
so,
that's it. It's unsettling. Again, that was kids I was in care of. These are questions I would want answered. Okay, why were these 3 children going there? Where were they coming from? Why are their ages important? And why are they hanging out with all these fucking politicians in a pool? It's just all weird. And to me, none of those are baseless questions. Those are all I'm a parent, right? I'm an uncle. Those are questions that would concern me if I had a child being discussed in this conversation, period. Right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know, folks. Pizzagate, there's a lot out there on it. There's a lot of research. It's always fun to roam into these subjects and really try to look at things from a different perspective. And if it's one thing that we encourage here at the Good Talk, it's perspective, and it's expanding your bubble, looking outside the proverbial box, and trying to help all of us in determining, well, what is fake, what is real, how do we know? I guess at the end of the day, sometimes you just don't. Is it generic to say you got to go with your instincts? Dennis, James, what do you guys think?
I think my advice for this kind of stuff and for anything really is what I learned to do a while back, which is if you think something's going on or a certain or means something, or there's a piece of evidence that sounds really compelling, if you want to investigate it further, instead of looking up more people talking about it, type that piece of evidence in and then say debunked, and then because you really want to see, because there's a lot of people who will go in and try to debunk all these things. And I think that's important because you can't think of everything yourself, and so
okay, that's a great way to fact find. That's great. No, that's awesome advice. James, any other thoughts?
No, that's a good point. I agree with that. I just I try and find just multiple sources that state very similar information. And,
Consistency is
and
key.
I look for good sources. Like if I look for peer-reviewed sources and sources from well-respected journalists, well-respected people in the industry that they're reporting on.
Sure. If you got some video footage or some hard evidence to back it up as you're dialing it in, even better. So, yeah, it's all hard. It's all hard out there in these days. So don't believe the first thing that you read. I guess it's not always true. Sometimes there's more to the story. There are ways for you to peel back the layers and uncover more and deeper aspects to the information you seek. And we encourage everybody to do that. So thanks again to Dennis Mikula of Ghost Bath for joining us today. Again, if you're in the North Dakota area, he's playing Fargo on Saturday, August 5th. It's sure to be a killer show. Hit up his website, buy a t-shirt if he's got one available. Check out the new album and support a North Dakota musician who's touring the world and finding ways of carving out his own path to success. It's great having you on the show, Dennis. It's always a fun time with you here, man. Thanks again for coming.
Hey, thanks. And I just wanted to mention we'll be on tour.
Please, yeah.
From mid-August until the end of September, and we'll be going pretty much everywhere in the U.S. and some parts of Canada.
Oh, dude, so you're going to be all over the country. Yeah, we've got listeners all over the place. If you're a metalhead, check out Ghost Bath and dial in with their tour dates. Go check them out, man. It's really a great story of how you got there. If this is your first time encountering Dennis on the Good Talk, this is his third appearance, so feel free to go back and check out the old episodes with him. It's always, like I said, it's been a lot of fun. Of course, my co-host, the extraordinary James Owens, thanks again for being here, my friend.
Yes, sir.
And a big thanks to our sponsors, Audible. We want to hook you guys up with 2 free books from Audible. That's a free trial. If you go to thegoodtalknetwork.com, you can click the button for Audible. In doing so, you support the show by spending no money, but just a few seconds of your time. So try Audible for free. Download the app on your phone. Go to thegoodtalknetwork.com. Try it. Dial it in, grab a couple books, and we'd really love and appreciate you for that. We'd also like to save you $30 on your first Blue Apron order. If you are stressed out and tired of making supper at home and you just don't know what to make anymore, try Blue Apron. Supplement your weekly supper planning or lunch planning with some meals from Blue Apron. They have chef-quality foods that are prepackaged and sent to your house with instruction, and we'll save you $30 off your first order. So go to thegoodtalknetwork.com. Click the Blue Apron button and give that a shot. Save yourself $30. Of course, review, subscribe, share, talk about us on iTunes, and spread the word. We love you, Good Talk listeners. Thank you.